Sure. So I joined Etsy almost exactly a year ago, and one of the first things that I looked at was our infrastructure to decide if it was time for us to move out of our data centers and our own infrastructure. And we decided that we wanted to go through a process to look at different cloud providers, that it was time that we sort of went down this path. And even though it's one really large project, we first subdivided it into a number of different sub-projects. And the reason is that we have hundreds of different subsystems, and we wanted to get the requirements for each of them. And so we assigned owners to all of the sub-projects, and they went through architectural reviews to design how the system would run in the new cloud infrastructure. And some of them were lifts and shifts. Some of them are changes into new tool sets and redesigns. And from that, we received a set of requirements. And the requirements fed into what we ultimately chose was a decision matrix. And the decision matrix took our functional requirements of the things that were really important to us as a business, such as a cultural fit, sustainability, cost, ease of use, and so on. And we weighted each of these literally thousands of requirements from these sub-projects. And we ended up with a matrix that we could then use to evaluate the different cloud providers on. And then we took all of the sub-projects and we went through a set of experiments and meetings and deep investigations with different cloud providers and weighted all the requirements. And we ended up with scores around 50,000 points for different cloud providers. And in the end, GCP won out with over 10% ahead of the competition. And this method that we used, the decision matrix, gave us a really quantifiable way to make a decision. So we tried to take away any sort of bias or people's opinions about, or previous experience, and really level the playing field and look at all the providers against what we really care about and make that decision quantifiable. The process isn't terribly difficult. It's not very complex. But to have people understand why they're going through this and how you're going to evaluate them, and ultimately that it is quantifiable and you're not trying to bias the system, I think that sort of cultural shift of explaining is probably the hardest thing to sort of walk people through the process and make them understand the benefits of it, that it's, there is time involved, but at the end of the day, every member of the team looked back and said it was a worthwhile process to go through, and they felt it really made them make a stronger decision that they could stand behind.